Hey guys, Sundown Rider here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Piece 884 Who. Now, I don't know why it was actually called Who. It might have been something to do with Pound being outside of the cake factory or the sweets factory. I think it might have been near the end of this chapter. And we had Sanji and Chiffon all kind of questioning, who's that guy outside. So maybe it was something to do with that. They're questioning who's outside, and I'm not sure. It was a really weird name for the chapter, and I didn't understand why it was actually called Who. But talking about the chapter itself, it was a good chapter. I really enjoyed what we got this chapter. There were a couple slow parts considering the Sanji thing, and they were all kind of concerned about that guy outside, Pound. But then we got to see some of the Sun Pirates and exactly what was going on there with the whole Sea Slug thing, and we got to see the Straw Hats as well, just a bit of it. So let's go into exactly what happened in the chapter and what I liked about it. So first, we see on the cover story that Idio and Blue Gilly have barged in on the fight between the Long Arm tribe and the Long Leg tribes. It seems to have been a very, very long-winded fight. I mean, they call it the 1,000-year war or something like that. When I was reading it, I was like, wait a second, are we in Bleach again? What the hell's going on? So it turns out that the fight between the Long Arm and Long Leg tribes has been going on for a while, and it's cool just to see Idio and Blue Gilly there. Blue Gilly being a long leg himself. It was just, well, I think he might be a long leg. He doesn't seem to have, their exact same leg makeup because their legs are a bit wonky, but he does seem to be a long leg tribe. I'm pretty sure he was. So yeah, the first thing I'd like to talk about really is the Straw Hat crew scenario where you have Nami and the crew being on the open sea, and they're just like, hey, this is kind of a little too quiet. It's like that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing. It's, hey, it's a little too quiet, and you're just like, yeah, it was a little too quiet. And the reason Nami's like really suspicious, she's all like, oh shit, you know what? This is a trap. There's got to be some sort of trap because we're just flying through the sea here and no one's coming after us. With Big Mom being on Nuts Island with Perospero, she's just demolishing that shit. Mondor's like, oh my god, what do I do? Because Big Mom's just going to ape shit on another city, another town. So he can't really control her pressuring the Straw Hat Pirates, and the Straw Hat Pirates are just running free. Jinbei then makes mention of the Sun Pirates, and we knew all along what the Sun Pirates were doing. So it turns out that Praline, she's attracted the attention of all the sea slugs. She's just singing to them, and they seem to be attracted by that, and they're just taking a day off work basically. So yeah, like I said, this was something that a lot of people had already guessed at, and the Sun Pirates, we knew they were going to be involved in this fashion. Something to do with the sea slugs, especially over the last couple chapters where Mondor was like, hey, where the sea slugs look, we knew what was going to go down. I couldn't say that. Yeah, so we knew what was going to go down. So yeah, that was nice. Praline looked awesome as usual, and it was just nice to see. It was a good part of the chapter. The next thing I want to talk about is the Cacao Island crew. You have Pudding, Chiffon, Sanji, and the rest of the, was it 31 chefs or something like that? I don't know. So you have Pudding, who at the moment she got a phone call from Brule, and she's like, from the Den Mushi, and she's fooling Brule into thinking that she's on their side, where she's actually in cahoots with Sanji and Chiffon at the moment. She wants to get the Straw Hats out. We already know that from a few chapters ago. So through this kind of facade she's putting up again, we know she's good at that. Brule tells Pudding that the Straw Hats will arrive on Cacao Island by 1 a.m. So she's got a 9-hour gap in which nothing's going to happen really. They're just going to carry on cooking the cake, but by 1 a.m. the Straw Hat Pirates will have arrived, and they're going to go to Cacao Island because that's where all the mirrors are, the closest place for mirrors and stuff like that, and where Sanji is kind of coincidentally, but it's also where Luffy's going to bop out of the mirror. So they're going there to rendezvous with Luffy. The only issue here is Mondor, having heard this from Brule, you'd assume, and the rest of the Big Mom Pirates have already kind of gathered this information. So they've sent Oven. We've seen Oven before, and he's a bit of a beast. And they've sent Oven there to Cacao Island. He's already there. He's right outside the cake factory, the sweets factory, whatever it's called. And he's there with basically a small army to destroy the crew once they get there. So it's looking like a bad situation for the Straw Hats. Only Sanji's there, and we know I've been waiting for Sanji to get a fight this whole arc, a good fight, and I think this is going to be the one. Sanji versus Oven. It's going to be sick. It's going to be sick because they've already made, I'm pretty sure they've already kind of possibly punched at one another. They haven't really had a fight, maybe a scuffle, but it's going to be Diable Jambe versus a guy with fiery hot hands. It's the perfect combination, someone with hot legs and someone with hot hands. It's going to work out really well. And we also find out in this chapter that Oven's father-in-law is Pound. Now, I was confused about this. I'd understand Oven's stepfather being Pound, because his mom might have married because Big Mom might have married Pound after Oven was born, because Oven's like the third child, a third or fourth brother or something, third or fourth. Was it the third or fourth child or third or fourth male child? One of the two. But yeah, so Oven seems to be one of the higher ups, especially considering Lola and Chiffon and all those. So I was like, yeah. So, but Oven calls him his father-in-law, so that means that Oven's probably married to either Chiffon or Lola. He's not married to Chiffon. Was he married off to Lola, who's technically his stepsister? You know, it's getting a bit weird. So I don't know what that was about. But yeah, then Sanji, we see once again his refreshing faith in Luffy. It's cool, you know. He doesn't ever think that Luffy's gonna lose. Luffy's the G, and he knows he's gonna win. And it's just really about how he's gonna win. And I'm gonna come on to that really now. So yeah, that kind of concludes Cacao Island. They're still baking the cake. They got 9 hours. In those 9 hours, they're just gonna carry on building the cake, making the cake. Then Luffy and hopefully the Straw Hats will all arrive there. In which case, Oven's gonna be there like, hey, time to die. So yeah, that should be good. But I think Sanji will kick the shit out of Oven. Just putting that out there. It's going to be a good fight nonetheless. Then we have Luffy versus Katakuri. Now Luffy hands Katakuri his ass on a plate in this chapter. He dishes out some pain. Gear 4th destroys Katakuri. I was actually shocked to see this, because we see at the end of last chapter Katakuri tanking a shot from Gear 4th, and he's just like, oh yeah, and he takes it, and he's just guarding himself. And it turns out that wasn't enough. He just got wrecked. So Luffy's Gear 4th Buso Shoku no Haki is stronger than Katakuri's densest form of Haki, which is what he's been utilizing. So his densest form of Buso Shoku no Haki. So Luffy's trumps Katakuri's at this moment in time. So yeah, it was really awesome to see that. And what we find out in terms of what Luffy identified last chapter, Katakuri's weakness, it was a lot more simple than I thought it was going to be, because like I was saying, oh, maybe it's something to do with utilizing the two forms of Haki at the same time. He can't concentrate on one while he's concentrating on the other. It was kind of like that, but not completely like that. And what Luffy identified was a little bit more simplistic than I thought, so I was a little bit disappointed, but it makes sense. So simply put, Katakuri can't actually be... I didn't realize Luffy was going through this struggle in his head. I thought Luffy, for some reason, was just running away and not trying to hit him or something. And he wasn't trying it, but it turns out it must have gone over my head. Maybe a lot of you guys noticed it, I didn't. But Luffy wasn't hitting him because Luffy didn't think he could hit him. It turns out Luffy was like, okay, I can't hit you with Buso Shoku no Haki because I just keep passing through you. And we've seen it all the way through from we've seen it since a few chapters ago where Luffy Red Hawks Katakuri and nothing happens to him, and Luffy's just like, yo shit, what do I do now? So it turns out that Luffy thought he couldn't actually hit Katakuri, and then he finds out that Katakuri was just using his excellent Kenbun Shoku no Haki, his observation Haki, to predict where Luffy was going to attack, and he then just kind of changed his body shape in order to dodge the attack. So he wasn't getting hit, he was just changing his mochi body to so that the attack would pass through him, essentially. So it's kind of underwhelming, but the issue persists. Luffy still can't hit him. So and then after Luffy, so once Katakuri calms himself down and he regains his control over Kenbun Shoku no Haki, because what we find out in this chapter as well is, well, it's not something we find out, it's something we've always really known, but it's not been overtly stated, is that Katakuri needs to be in a calm state, and everyone who's using Kenbun Shoku needs to be in a calm state, in a calm mindset, in order to utilize it to its fullest extent. So Katakuri calms himself and regains his excellent Kenbun Shoku. And then that strength Haki attack that he used on Luffy while he's in Gear 4th, like it was awesome. He gets these like two mecha arms, Katakuri, and it looked really, really well done. And I was like, yo, this is an awesome looking attack. And I'm just wondering if Katakuri's gonna go in like a mecha formation or something. It looked so cool because he had these like two kind of Gundam looking arms. But the best part about it was that strength mochi, I think is strength mochi. You could see how much that attack hurt Gear 4 Luffy with his eyes kind of phasing out. It's just, Katakuri is an absolute beast if you actually manage to hurt a Gear 4th Luffy. So then we come on to the last part of the chapter, which is Katakuri's Buso Bogyo, his super hard defense. Now, I was talking about this translation differences between Jaimini's box and Manga Stream last chapter. So it seems that actually Manga Stream might have been onto something, because the characters used for Katakuri's super hard Buso Shoku no Haki was different to the characters used to normal Buso Shoku no Haki, normal color of armaments. So it turns out Katakuri's got this possibly it's written differently to Busto Shoku no Haki, so it may just be a slight variant or variation of Armament Haki, which is slightly more powerful, more dense, and more solid. So, like I said, it's got nothing on Gear 4th, but once Katakuri calms down and tanks Luffy's attacks, you see exactly how powerful it is, and it actually damages Luffy while he's in Gear 4th. So that's just a nice thing to see, that there is something slightly above Busto Shoku no Haki in terms of just... I think it's just really well trained in Katakuri. It's not essentially a different form. It's just really well trained. But that doesn't leave out the possibility of there being higher forms of Haki, like with Kenban Shoku no Haki. He can see slightly into the future, so he's got that slightly more powerful version of Busto Shoku no Haki, which is more dense and more powerful, as you can see. So yeah, that was the majority of the chapter. I think that's everything important about the chapter. Let me know what you guys thought. I thought it was a solid chapter, about a 7 out of 10. There wasn't anything particularly awesome. The Luffy versus Katakuri fight was good. I loved seeing Luffy plow Katakuri through walls and shit like that, but then Katakuri comes back with his own and he recollects himself, and now it's really all about how Luffy will agitate Katakuri so that he loses his Kenban Shoku no Haki, because that's the thing that's really affecting Luffy right now. He can't attack Katakuri because Katakuri is just molding his shape into that form, where he's most easily able to dodge Luffy's attacks. So it really depends on how Luffy can agitate Katakuri and throw him off. Maybe he'll go after Brûlé or something, because we know Luffy won't stoop. Luffy would stoop to any level. He's a dirty fighter, but it's good. That's what's gonna make him great. He doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he's gonna do. Luffy will find a way, but I don't exactly know what he's gonna do. He's gonna go after Brûlé. He's gonna say something to Katakuri like, "Oh, your breath smells like shit," or something like that. And I don't know what he's gonna do, but he has to do something to agitate Katakuri so that Katakuri loses his Kenban Shoku no Haki advantage, and then Luffy has it in the Busto Shoku no Haki while he's in Gear 4th anyway. But it does turn out that Katakuri does have his own decent Busto Shoku no Haki. He's got a really strong Buso Bogyo, which we're talking about. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in a bit.